Hello everyone. I'm just about to start cutting out my latest skirt for my spring wardrobe, so I thought I would show you what we've decided to do for the cutting table after what I spoke about in my last video. So thank you to everybody for all your well wishes for my sore back. It is still really hurting, but I'm getting around a lot better now. Sleeping's not great, sitting's not great. I'm sitting at the moment and I can feel every pinch. But I'm finding it's much easier to cut out on the table now we've raised it up on blocks. So I said in the last video that we were thinking, what could we do to make things a little easier so that I wasn't cutting out on the floor, crawling around on the floor all the time. Now, my husband has put together some blocks of wood that just slide under the dining table legs. I'm going to show you in a moment. And they just come out then when I've done with it. So if I get all my cutting done every few days, and then we just push them out of the way, and then the table goes back to normal. So I'll show you what we've done. I'm going to be cutting out on it shortly. So I'm cutting out this skirt, Burda 6252, which I mentioned I was going to be making in black, because I'm making small plain things, and I'm going to line it as well. It's not lined in the pattern. I did line the last time that I made it, I lined it, and that worked really well. Something that has happened is that I ordered buttons for it, thinking they would be a decent size, and it did give the measurements, but I wasn't paying attention, was I? And I did order them while my back was hurting, so I don't think I was really thinking about what was going on. I've got these. They're not very big, are they? But I'm going to make them work. I'll probably just put more on because they're smaller. So they're sort of a bronze colour. I'll get one out so you can see a little bit better. So, like this. And that's going to go against the black. So, I think they'll show up really nicely. So like I said, they're a little bit smaller than I thought, but I'm sure they'll be fine. I'll show you the cutting table now. So as you can see, it's just blocks under the legs. So it just makes the table higher overall. Just trying to get a good view of it. It's quite hard to see, but look, they're under each leg. And you just basically just hold it at one end and then push them out with your foot when we're finished with it and put them away. And I figured if I just do my cutting every few days, then this is a good height for me. I'll try and get some footage of me stood next to it so you can see a little bit clearer that it's better the height that I'm at. I did it on the measurements from elbow to table, and this seems to work just right because I don't really need to lean or tilt. Look, I can reach across the table without really bending, and that's just an ideal height for me. So I said in the last video, I'd read somewhere that if it's 6 inches below your elbow to the table, that looks more in the image, but it's not actually, we've measured it. And from standing height anyway, from here to the table. And then when you're cutting, that is just right. And I did use it the other day and it was working great. Hi everybody. So I've finished my skirt. So I worked on it for most of yesterday afternoon and really took my time with the buttons and the buttonholes and making sure that the lining was lying flat and everything. Now I love it, but I've encountered a problem that I find with black, and this is something I always used to find before, and I'm sure you'll all agree with me, is that it seems to grab every particle of dust from the air. So I'm wearing it now and I'm already constantly brushing at it like this because it's as though every time I move it just attracts any white fluff that's anywhere in the atmosphere. I don't know why this is. Maybe there is something that you can spray on your clothes, or maybe, I don't know, some special wash liquid that you can wash them in that stops it doing this. It's like an anti-static. if you know of anything like this, please do let me know, because I'm sure I'll get over it in a minute, but because it's so crisp and black at the moment, I'm just noticing every little bit on it. So I'm going to insert some images. I'll also stand up so you can have a look. I'll also show you here what I did when I was attaching the lining. So when I was making this skirt, I've cut identical pieces to the skirt pieces in lining, made it up the same way, and I've slotted it inside, look, and I've slotted it inside the front panel here, where the buttons and buttonholes will go, and I've already turned up the hem. So as you can see, what I did was I cut out the same pieces for the skirt, front and back, but the only difference being the bit where you have the front facing, where it folds back to make the panel where the buttons go and the buttonholes, that bit you cut it smaller, obviously, because you don't need that much on the lining. So you could cut it the same and just fold it back with it, but it doesn't need to be there, so you can just cut it a little bit smaller if you wish. And then also on the lining, you need to make sure whatever length you're doing your skirt, that your lining sits above it, because if you try and make them the same length, you're probably going to have a problem where the lining is showing below it quite a lot. So you want it to sit above the hem. So if your hem's like that on the inside, the lining wants to be sitting above that. You've got a good bit of distance between the lining and the hemline. So that's just something else to remember. And then what you do is you just basically slot it inside, fold the front panel where you make your buttonholes and your buttons over the lining, bring it up edge to edge at the top of the skirt, and I just pinned it, and then you can just baste it in place. And then you just make the skirt up as normal, so it's hanging free on the inside, apart from it's caught in down that button band and it's caught in at the waistband. And that's how I do all my skirts. They're not supposed to be lined, but I always line them. I just think it gives a better finish if you line the skirts. So that's what I've done with it. And also the buttons that I showed you in that clip that I thought were too small, now that I've put them on, I actually do like them. They work well. They're probably just the right size, really. And I also like the little belt tabs. I haven't got a belt on today, but I do often wear a belt around a skirt, so I'll show you now, stood up, and as I said, I'll show you some still images that I've just taken as well. So here we are. As you can see, it's above my knee, so I made it longer than the one for this particular view in the pattern, but the one in the pattern should have come around here. So that's way too short for me. I did used to wear them that length when I was younger, but not now. So I've got it above my knee, so I do like them shortish, but not sort of skimming my thigh there. So, you know, that is a nice length if you're younger, I think, but as I said, I prefer them this sort of length. And it's got the belt loops there, look, and also on the front. I just think they're a nice detail, the way that they're added, and they've got that nice shape to them. So here's my buttons. So I think they are actually the right size, and the shade shows up nicely on the black. You've got these good big pockets, and if I just flip that up, you can just see that's where my lining come a little bit closer. So there's my hem and there's my lining. So I'm really happy with that. I just need to find a solution to the grabbing of fluff issue that I'm having at the moment. So that's another one of my solid makes ticked off my list. So I am working on making a few more things in plain fabrics, solid colours to bring everything together. I've also found a couple of images of other jackets that I like. And I've also been watching, I don't know if any of you have also been watching this on Apple television, The New Look. And it's the story, it's like a wartime story, and it's about Coco Chanel and Christian Dior, so the fashion houses, and then it takes place during the war. So it's really interesting. So I'm sort of enjoying that storyline and also the fashion element as well. And I think it's really interesting. So I've been watching that, and then I've also been reading like factual bits about it as well. So it sort of inspired me to do some more reading on that. So I'm going to try and source some more books, either second hand or from the library, about that subject and about those particular designers. So I'll let you know, and I'll also share the books with you when I've found some suitable reading on that. But I'm really enjoying the series. I think I'm probably enjoying it more than my husband is, actually. Don't force him to watch it, but he is watching it along with me. But then we all have different things that we like to watch, don't we? I think he's enjoying it more as the story's progressed. So please do let me know in the comments if you're watching that as well. So as I said, that's on Apple TV. Well, that's all from me for today. I hope you enjoyed seeing this skirt, and if you've made it, do let me know about that in the comments also. This is the second time I've made it, as I did mention before. My other one I made in a printed chambray, and I lined that one, and that's got press stud buttons. So they're bigger, and I used press studs on that one. So I think I've shared that in a previous video, but I may share it in the next one for those of you that haven't seen it. And I'll hold these two up on hanger so you can see them a little better. So the next thing I'm going to be making in my next video is probably one of the free patterns that I shared, and I think I'm going to do the cami first of all. So I just need to decide on a fabric for that one, and that will be coming up soon. Thank you for watching today. Bye for now.